what draws the crowds to San Sebastian. It's a form of eating on the go where you hop from one bar to another, having maybe one or two small, bite-sized dishes in each one. And the Basques call their street food pinchos. Wow, this is amazing.
I know. Well, this is a pincho bar. I mean, a lot of people think pinchos are the same as tapas, but they're not.
Gabriela Rinella is a food expert who came to San Sebastian more than 20 years ago. She fell in love with the food, the people, and the Basque way of life.
And pinchos are really little bite-sized things that are sort of kind of like miniature cuisine, and they should be one or two bites. You should be able to eat them with your hands. And these are pretty traditional pinchos. You have a lot of things with like egg and shrimp. Oftentimes they were the fishermen's wives and sisters who had these bars, and they would, you know, put out a bit of tuna.
And I understand it's kind of an honour system, so you don't actually order. You can just sit here and pick at stuff, and then
unless it's a hot pincho, which you have to order, you just take whichever one you want, and at the end you tell them what you've had, you tell them the drinks that you've had, and it is the honour system. Now, they're very good at math, and they certainly know what you've had to eat. So if you had 6 pinchos and you tell them you had 1, they know. But the idea is that you just take it and you tell them. And everybody's very honest here, because a lot of people, this is something locals do as well, and these people want to come back. But the worst thing that can happen to you is to be sort of banned from a great pincho bar.
Looks rather empty. What's going on here?
This place is completely different. They do amazing miniature cuisine. So I'm just going to order a few things and let me know what you think. Mark, pedimos una de carilleras, otra risotto y un margarita. So we always say that pinchos should be 1 or 2 bites, but really these you need a knife and fork for, so there you go.
So what's the difference here? I mean, why are these so special?
Well, these fellas have worked in some of the greatest restaurants in all of Spain. They decided to open their own bar. They wanted to move away from the restaurant scene, and so they're doing really restaurant quality, world-class cuisine here in little tiny plates. And it's kind of like the ultimate fast food.
And still all the kind of Basque ingredients, I guess.
Yeah, carilleras. This one, for example, which is a stewed beef cheek, is cooked for 6 hours at a very, very low temperature, which is very traditional Basque cooking. I mean, the grandmothers used to do it, you know, on their kind of like, they weren't agas, but that kind of stove where they just cook them on the back of the stove for hours and hours over a wood fire.
So the flavors are amazing.
Meld together, and you know, you can't really. I mean, it's hard to even find that in restaurants. It's amazing these guys do it in the tiny kitchen they have.
Here on this plate?
Well, we're here in the heart of the anchovy brotherhood. So we've got anchovies, which, as you know, are pretty scarce around these parts, and it's really one of the most important pinchos in the city of San Sebastian. They do their own anchovies here. They're fresh anchovies, not those kind of salty, hairy things that people think they are.
The owner of the bar was involved with anchovies in some way.
Well, he was the president of the Anchovy Brotherhood, which is a big deal here.
Why is it such a big deal?
Well, you have to be inducted into it. And
really?
Your commission is really to go throughout the world sort of defending and promoting the anchovy.
Oh, blimey. Even on a hot day, San Sebastian has a certain early morning quality. The trees seem as though their leaves were never quite dry. The streets feel as though they'd just been sprinkled. It's always cool and shady on certain streets on the hottest day. A passage from Ernest Hemingway's novel The Sun Also Rises. Hemingway was one of the early fans of San Sebastian. He kept coming back here to stay, drawn by the charms of the city and its people. Today, the Basque region remains a haven for tourists. San Sebastian, with its quaint fishing ports, turquoise Mediterranean waters, overlooked by rolling hills and alluring side streets, is a world-class city. A city which the Basque people are happy to share with visitors. But the struggle for independence from Spain has at times hindered prosperity here. Support for the group known as ETA is still visible on the streets. The pro-separatist organisation has had many of its members jailed for often violent attacks against the Spanish establishment. For many Basques, it's a tactic which they no longer want associated with the region's identity. How much would you say ETA has damaged the Basque cause?
Well, in my view, very clearly, ETA has made the worst damage possible to Basque identity, to Basque nationalism, to our party and to our society. I mean, the real enemy of Basque identity or of Basque independentism is ETA. Of course, we cannot make politics within a structure where there is an organization willing to make politics through violence.
Instead, many here would like to see younger generations inherit political, social and cultural freedoms through peaceful means. The perfect example of this is the Basque language. Repressed under the dictatorship of Francisco Franco, it's now the language of instruction, taught by teachers like Ana Iturregi in many Basque schools.
The Basque language has survived mainly because it was very rooted in the people. They have kept their language alive. Apart from this, the Basque country is quite small, surrounded by hills, so it has been difficult to colonize the area. The Basque people are proud of their language. It's not a language for show. It's not kept in a drawer and taken out from time to time. It's used on a daily basis to communicate ideas and feelings.
To an outsider, though, the language looks odd, often a strange combination of consonants, which resemble a cryptic puzzle rather than spoken words. To outsiders, it looks quite a strange language on the signposts around San Sebastian. What are the basics of the language? How does it work?
We add information to it from meaning. We add things at the front of verbs to change the meanings, to update the language. In terms of the sounds of Basque, yes, some are peculiar. For example, we roll the R sound. But in a way, it is easy to write. The letters reflect the sound, so it is phonetic when you know the letter combinations.
And in Anna's classroom, there's a model pupil, her own daughter, Ainhoa, who's retained the Basque tongue while also learning to speak 4 other languages. Why is it important to speak Basque, do you think?
Because it's the language of our country, and when we were little we study, and I know it's the language of our country.
And do you speak it with your friends? How much do you speak it?
We speak Spanish and Basque. We mix more or less, I don't know how to say. In a sentence we can speak in Spanish and in Basque, the 2 languages mixed.
Mixing what's important to them while adapting with change. And that's the secret of being Basque. Versatility, blending old and new, like the cooking style of Elena Alvac, or the evolving range of dishes in the Pincho bars. So if you find yourself on the streets of San Sebastian, you'll certainly get a taste of the Basque identity through their passion for food.